Not these OGs drinking that haterade over Carl and Annayia and Casey and Titi being favorite couple over them. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Love Island USA Season 8, Episode 30, and I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. They could have sent this episode in an email. You know what I'm saying? They could have put this episode in the DMs. It did not need to air on Peacock at all. You know what I'm saying? But we got some Islanders that are drinking some haterade tonight. You know what I'm saying? Kata is really pissed off that she was not voted a top couple. And she's got smoke for, you know what I'm saying, Annayia and Carl, saying that Annayia's sweet and all, but she's been in a couple longer. And Zack Attack tried to save it, you know, with the PR and said, you know, maybe people think that Annayia and Carl's a cute couple. Kata, especially, it's FKC until it's backwards. That's what type of time Kata's on. She's like, how are we not more, you know what I'm saying, voted more compatible than KC and TT when we've been in day 3 couple? And how is it that Melanie and Sincere argue every day, every night? They're always in drama, yet they even got top couple over us. Like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And then they also said that they felt that they got robbed karaoke. No. You guys sucked at karaoke. Let's be for real. You guys couldn't even attempt Endless Love. Epic fail, epic disaster, as far as I'm concerned, right? But Kata, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Unfortunately, production spared Zack Attack movie night and did not give him the appropriate clips to show how much he was scheming, to show a whole reel of how bad that he talks about you behind your back and all the things, and the disgusting things that he says about the other black women in the villa, like Annayia, like Trinity. That should have been a clip. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, that they just let him skate on by. They just let him skate through. But it's the fact that Zack Attack had been looking for other bombshells for weeks. Anytime you guys were intimate, he's always asking about a bombshell. He's always negging you, saying that he loves you, then takes it back, and all of the things. Basically said he is not trying to make you his girlfriend up and through here. You know what I'm saying? And withholding breakfast from you whenever you, he perceives that you've pissed him off, right? Just like he was mad at the when Caleb and them got there for the bombshells, and he didn't like the way that you had your legs wrapped around Caleb and wanted to punish you and told you that we were going to take a step back. I'm going to talk to other people. He was always trying to find ways to neg you and put you down and everything else. So then we have a conversation with Kenzie. She basically says to Dylan that it sucks that she's on the bottom. She's sick of America putting her on the bottom. And Kenzie, we're sick of you as well. That's why you keep getting on the bottom. We are sick of you. It is week 6 and you have no stable connection. Where is the growth in any of your connections? You know what I'm saying? Y'all said y'all want to explore. You're still exploring Neil. Make it make sense. So Casey has a conversation with Titi, and I thought this was hilarious. You know what I'm saying? So Casey's upset that his boy Corbin is gone. Tacey upset that another Casa girl's gone because I believe it is just her now. It's just her and 2 Casa boys that are left. So ultimately, you know what I'm saying? I feel like they think America doesn't hate them. But Casey then realizes and Casey defenders, I need you to listen to this. Casey said that he did all this dumb ASS-SHIT. And y'all still stuck beside him and advocated for him. Well, here's the thing, Casey. Let's keep it a buck, right? So your defenders voted for you regardless because, unfortunately, there is a significant number of your defenders who hate Annayia, who hate Annayia's guts. However the actual vote was for most compatible couple. And you are a compatible couple with Tay. However, there are new viewers, there are new watchers, there are some male voters, there are some of y'all boyfriends and y'all husbands that are Team Casey. You know what I'm saying? And it's being reflected in these votes, right? So ultimately, Casey then started talking to TT like a teammate. You know what I'm saying? Basically, thank you for sticking beside me. What was understood don't gotta be explained, TT. And then they kiss. But he's back to doing those pet kisses that he was giving Annayia back earlier on the show. And I stand on the fact that I don't believe Casey's a good kisser. Anyways, we get to Sincere and Melanie and Soul Ties, and I'm going to be saying this all throughout this episode. Melanie does not want to go anywhere. She loves Sincere Deal. And talked about the fact that they have not kissed in a while. They were happy with their performance, karaoke night, and all the things. And, you know, she felt that they did a good job and all this and all of that. And then they're kissing again. And Soul Ties. Then Zach Attack, you know what I'm saying? And Bryce try to have a conversation about him, you know, not being in the top 4 and all this and all of that. And they also have a conversation as well where he basically said he doesn't plan on making Kata his girlfriend, but basically is going to plan on doing something to, I guess, try to get some sympathy votes and all of this and all of that. Then there is a conversation with Trinity and Kata. Is pissed off. She's like, FKC, how did he get in top 4 and all this, all of that? Trinity's basically like, listen, don't deep it or whatever the case. And she said she's not trying to be effed up, but you see how Casey moved. Y'all see how he was effed up to Annayia. You see how he disrespected Annayia. And you know what I'm saying? And he gets top 4. That is crazy work. But again, the vote was most compatible, not favorite Islander. But here's the thing. I'm going to keep it a buck with y'all. Even if the vote was favorite Islander, y'all still were going to vote for Casey because y'all don't like Annayia. Some of y'all still don't like Annayia. But this was my problem, was that y'all putting Casey in the top 4 like this is going to set a precedent that more black men can come on this show and talk any old kind of way to black women and still get America's support, because the most disrespected woman is the black woman, and that is very scary in terms of the precedent that could potentially be getting set. So then there was another scene with Casey and TT where he told her that he didn't want to go through this without her. But if you look at Casey's eyes, I don't know if y'all ever seen Tyreek before from Love Island UK that was also on Love Island Games. He did a similar look with Ella Thomas on his season 10 where he had this look where it was just like he was saying stuff, but his facial expressions were not matching his words. He had this look like he was on demon time. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I'm glad you're sticking beside me, but I was trying to get up one out of this villa so I can knock down these women. So I can hook up with these women and all this and all of that, right? Melanie is shocked that America has voted her a top couple. She cannot believe it. She is so shook. She's like, she's happy that America sees our relationship. And this is what I told y'all, Melanie, people that were telling me that, you know what I'm saying, Melanie needs to go home. She needs to self-evict. You know what I'm saying? Her and Sincere, you know, they should be a bottom couple, all this, all that. But what did y'all do? Y'all mobilized for Melanie, right? Y'all mobilized for Melanie. So ultimately as well, Zach realizes that the public does not like him. He realized that he is not good enough for Kata and all this and all of that. So he's trying, like I said, he's working on his scheme for them to be exclusive and all this and all of that. Then we got smoke from Kenzie talking about, how did Annayia make it in top 4? Carl wasn't even her first choice. She chose KC at the Casa recoupling and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So Kata and Kenzie, you know what I'm saying? So Carnaya fans, Carl and Annayia supporters, you got people that got smoke for you tonight's episode. Y'all were up here talking about splitting votes to help Kata get into the finale. Y'all need to cancel that. Y'all need to cancel splitting the votes because it's not going to go down, right? It is not going down. Y'all better use all y'all votes for whatever couple you like and keep it pushing. So if you like Carl and Annayia, y'all better use all the votes that you have on Carl and Annayia. Forget that split in anything, because Kata just showed you tonight what she really thinks of Annayia, and Kenzie just showed you tonight what she really thinks of Annayia. And it makes sense why Kenzie is not really cool with the OGs like that anymore once she started moving mad in this villa. Then Bryce tells Zach Attack that ultimately him and Trinity had did it the other night. And, here goes Sack. Well, I'm happy for you, but I saw your DICK first. And these are the things, you know what I'm saying, that I am talking about, right? These are the things that I am talking about. So, anyways, we have a bed scene with Carl and Annayia, and she's got the silk lace pajamas on, the little two-piece number on, and basically Carla's like, Annayia, this ain't giving no grandma, and she was like, it is giving grandma. You know what I'm saying? They got a little jokey joke happening, but he's all expecting. He's got his Clark Kent glasses on. You know what I'm saying? He is looking all the way down. Like what can we get into tonight? You know what I'm saying? And then we have Casey, who says in the bed with TT, he still thinks that America hates his ASS. And Casey, that is correct. That is absolutely correct. And I'm glad, Casey, you remembered that you were still in a couple with TT and finally decided to kiss her in the bed after all this time being back into the villa. And everybody was kissing in the bed. Melanie and Sincere are pulling the covers on top of them. Trini and Bryce, you know what I'm saying, are doing something in the bed that looked more than kissing. Carl and Annayia were kissing in the bed, and there were some serious kisses in the bed, like very serious kisses. You know what I'm saying? And all of the things. And Kenzie and Dylan are going to be doing X, Y, and the Z in the bed. And she even confirmed the next morning it was all of the bumping and the grinding, right? So then the girls are in the dressing room the next morning, and Mel said that she was not shocked that, TT and Casey were picked for favorite couple. And here goes Kata crying. Here goes Kata crying. America doesn't like me. Why doesn't America like me? And basically, the girls are like, we don't think it's that. We don't think this America doesn't like you. You need to be paying attention to what Zack Attack is up to. You know what I'm saying? And so then, you guys, Carl brought some type of extravagant display of edible arrangements for Annayia, and they were kissing Dion and all of this and all of that. And then he had her lipstick or whatever else on his face and all of this and all of that, right? Then there was a conversation with Carl and Dylan, and Dylan is upset about being at the bottom three. And Carl says that, in Chinese culture, there's a saying called it's easier to move a mountain than it is to change a person. And ultimately, Dylan is concerned about what his family thinks of Kenzie, and he wants to know, you know what I'm saying? So basically, he's trying to stay here till family day to decide if he wants to stay here with Kenzie. And production, I already see the play. You know what I'm saying? This is why you shouldn't have saved Kenzie and Dylan. There is no romantic spark between them. They are unserious as far as I'm concerned, right? Then there was a funny conversation that Kenzie had. I believe it was with Trinity. It was with Melanie, and I believe TT as well, right? And so she was like, you know what I'm saying? If I didn't win immunity last night, and it was a bottom three with me and Dylan, Corbin and Persian Cat, and Kata and Zach, would I have went home? Well, yes. Yes, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Casey and TT would have chose Corbin and Persian Cat. The core three would have chose Kata. So that would have left you without a vote, Kenzie. So it was silent. It was complete silence, you guys. So one thing I do like about Melanie, she knows how to redirect a conversation. She knows how to pivot. And Melanie's like, let's not talk about that. Let's not put that out into the universe. Let's not, say things like that, or even try to put any type of suspicion that is going to make it seem, you know what I'm saying, that that's the type of energy that we are on. So next, what happens is the girls are outside on the patio, outside of their dressing room, and they get a text message about some tasks to do, or whatever the case may be, right? And so what did I tell y'all, right? They got a task. They had to keep it a secret. They couldn't shout. I got a text. And ultimately, somebody had to pull somebody, you know what I'm saying, to get a kiss on the cheek that was not their couple. Somebody had to pick an islander to help them, you know what I'm saying, search for something that they think they lost. Somebody has to have a drink order and make somebody go back 3 times to change, they keep changing the order or whatever the case may be and saying they don't like it. Somebody has to get 2 men to give them a massage. Somebody has to get the men to keep saying French fries. And then somebody has to get them all to jump into the pool, right? So TT was able to get the Casa men to go with her to the photo booth, which would be Carl and Dylan, to, kiss her on the cheek. And she said that, hey, we haven't had any pictures, this and that, right? And so then they had this little secret little signal they would do when the mission was completed. Kenzie asked Carl and Dylan to give her a massage. And I would be keeping my eye on Kenzie if I was you, Annayia, you know what I'm saying? Because Kenzie might be trying to itch to try to explore something else, because it is giving later on that her and Dylan are not on the same page, right? And so then we got Trinity. She is asking the men, what do they like to have with their hamburgers? She's trying to get them all to say French fries and all of this and all of that. Then she goes over to Carl and Dylan, who are working out. She asks Carl, how does he say in Mandarin French fries? And he's all trying to think about it. But at that point, they both had already said French fries. So her mission was already accomplished. So she didn't really care after that. Kata, another task was Kata had to get Bryce to help her with her makeup and all this and all of that. So they were in the dressing room with Trinity doing all of that. Then as well, the girls were all able to convince all of the men to jump in the pool, even though Casey was super duper reluctant to do so, right? So, but they ultimately was able to get them all to do that, right? And then you guys, Annayia, I feel like this was my favorite part of the challenge. Listen, I'm not going to hold y'all. I understand that Annayia and Casey, they're not compatible. They're not a match. But I enjoy their scenes together. I enjoy their content together. And it's not me being toxic or dysfunctional. When they get along, you know what I'm saying? They're great TV. When Casey and Annayia get along, they are great TV. They're the best content on this season. And I can stand on that. That was why I was a former Kanaya supporter. So Annayia is like, I'm going to get KC, right? I'm going to get KC, and I'm going to say that I lost these sunglasses, right? So she goes over to all the fields where TT and KC are sitting, and, Annaya's like, she's like, listen, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've lost these sunglasses. I don't know what happened to them. Can you help me look for them? And it's TT that is leading the charge to have KC, you know what I'm saying, go with his ex. So TT is enjoying all of this. And so Casey's like, in the confessional, he's like, bruh, like why is Annayia asking me to do this? And he's walking around, he's checking and say less. And he's like, Annayia doesn't even wear sunglasses. Like I was in a couple with her for 3 weeks. Like, what is she talking about? And so they are going all around and around and around. And, they cannot find these sunglasses. And ultimately, they eventually find it, and Casey finds it in Soul Ties. But Annayia basically was like, you owe me one. But listen, I enjoyed their scene. I'm not even going to hold you. It's such a shame, you know what I'm saying, that they could not get it right. They could not get it together. They could not get their communication together and all of this and all of that. But I enjoyed their content. Out of everybody this episode, I enjoyed their content. I'm not going to hold you. And it's really nice to see Annayia and TT getting along. I like that they're not trying to fight over no Casey, right? Which is what Casey actually wanted. That is what he wanted. He wanted Annayia and TT to fight over him so he could be the one having the power and having all the aura and choose the decision. But then, unfortunately, Carl came back. Unfortunately, we voted Carl back. So, also, I wanted to also make a point as well. They showed everyone else's opinion on the America vote except for Carl and Annayia. And I found that pretty interesting because I don't feel like, as much as y'all want to talk about Annayia, I don't feel she's a mean or malicious person. I don't feel that she would talk Cash SHIT about any of these other couples in terms of, trying to put any of these other people down to lift other people up. And it was really disgusting to see how some of these people were moving. So ultimately, it was funny because Trinity somehow was in the confessional talking about Naya's photo booth photo where she had on the hat, and I did the Michael Jackson, you know what I'm saying, hat tilt in the photo booth, and I was trying to figure out how Trinity knew about that. But did production feed that to her? Is production telling Islanders what we're saying on social media? I am just of confusion, how they knew that, right? I was trying to figure it out, right? And so then as well, there was a conversation with Titi and Kata. Kata, lies in Titi's face about not being upset that Casey and Titi were in top 4 over her. No. So Titi tries to tell Kata, listen, look at here. You know what I'm saying? I saw the episodes before I had to come in at Casa Amor and listen, look at here. You know what I'm saying? Zach was not being kind to you. Zach was always talking about bombshells. Kata was like, oh, but that was in the past. That was early on. So and Kata was all in the confessional, my man, like we're locked in, that was all at the beginning. So basically, Kata does not want to hear anything that resembles the truth as it pertains to her and Zach Attack. She's just pissed off that she feels that her and Zach Attack, because they've been a couple since day 3, that they are above the other couples. But it's not about longevity. It was about compatibility, Kata. Then I didn't notice that Kenzie has been putting on fake freckles on her face and all of this and all of that. But basically, Dylan is going around this villa, moping around to anybody who will listen. Whether it's Carl, whether it is Zach Attack, you know what I'm saying? Just complaining about Kenzie. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why didn't you explore anybody else? Or you thought Kenzie was going to be your sure bet into this villa. You should have explored Jen. You should have went after Jen instead. You would not be miserable like this. But for whatever reason, these people do not like Jen. So he says that he's sick of, once again, being on the bottom. We also get a Sean mention. He has a conversation with Kenzie about how she was kissing Sean all over the video, all over the villa, not the video, the villa. And she's like, I was never with Sean. Kenzie! You and Sean were kissing each other all the way up and down this villa. And speaking of Sean, why did he do a live apparently today talking about, if I was in that villa, I'd be with Annayia right now. No! Are you going to profess your love to her at the reunion, Sean? Is this going to be your whole claim to fame, that you're going to profess your love to Annayia, regardless if she's with Carl or not? But because it gets to a point. It gets to a point. Kenzie is telling, Dylan that she wants him to meet her family, wants them to be on the lake, all this and all of that. And I feel like we've heard this all before. You know what I'm saying? That she really likes these men. She really wants these men to meet her family. Any man she's asking where they're from, all of a sudden she wants to move there. You know what I'm saying? She wants to move to North Carolina. She wants to move to Los Angeles. She wants to move to wherever these men are at. And all this and all that. And it's like Kenzie doesn't even realize that she tells all of these men the same thing. And it's crazy. It is absolutely insane. Then there's a conversation, you guys, with Sincere and Melanie. And once again, I'm going to say it until I'm blue in the face. I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. Melanie is happy where she's at. Melanie is happy where she's at. She has now convinced herself that America is not seeing all the good times of her and Sincere, and that they are only seeing the negative times, and they're not seeing the times where she's twerking and she's got a smile on her face and all of this and all of that. Then we got Sincere. You know what I'm saying? They're talking about the fact that they, were on the rocks since movie night and all of this and all of that. And then he pulls out all the stops of the ultimate lie, which is he wants to make Melanie his girlfriend, his fiance, his wife, the mother of his kids. I think Melanie's sister is going to have something to say about that, since she is posting on social media that Caleb is her brother-in-law. Make it make sense. So Melanie was all like, thank you, I appreciate you. This makes me so happy. And then they start kissing each other down. Then Zach says in the laziest of ways to Kata that he wants to be exclusive with her, and she eats this up. She absolutely eats this up. And I was like, this was your big scheme after being at the bottom? what was to do this little lazy exclusive thing. At least in past seasons, whether it was Johnny from season 2 or whatever else, at least y'all could do something, you know, put together like some chocolate covered strawberries, you know what I'm saying? Do like a little note, a little banner, a little poster board. Will you be my girlfriend? Will you be exclusive with me? Like just something cheesy to let the girl that you're interested, like some type of effort. These men are so lazy this season. Just no effort at all. No dates at all. No nothing. Like y'all really don't like these women when it's all said and done. So then as well, you know, Dylan wants to talk to Zack Attack because he is upset that Kenzie is up here talking about wanting to bring him home to meet her family, and she told Caleb the same things, and so now he cannot trust her words, and he feels like her actions are not matching her words, right? And so ultimately, Caleb and Kenzie, you know what I'm saying, eventually, not Caleb and Kenzie. Kenzie has a conversation with Trinity and Kata that she doesn't understand what more she could do with Dylan, and the girls are trying to just tell her, like, listen, look at here, write it out, it's the end, you're not going to be exploring anything else at this point, it's our last week, da-da-da-da-da. But Dylan pulls, you know, Kenzie for another chat and basically says, listen, look at here, I'm not feeling this, I'm not featuring this, that you told Caleb the same things about meeting his family and everything else, and how am I supposed to trust that you believe this? So now Kenzie's all pissed off again because she's like, initially she thought that they could work on the outside, but basically she, you know, if there's not trust there, what is the point of this? And this is my issue with you, production. You tried to make Kenzie your Bergie this season, knowing daggone well there was a reason that they were voted least compatible. There was a reason that America put them in the bottom, and you still saved Kenzie for the sake of having a certain couple, a certain aesthetic that could potentially be in the finals. But Kenzie has not been in a stable couple this entire time. She is always trying to look for a backup plan. She is always trying to look for somebody else's man to kiss on behind the scenes, and it's disgusting. It is disgusting. It was cute in the beginning, but ultimately, you know what I'm saying? It gets to a point. It's week 6 and you have no stable connections. But y'all are mad that y'all were not voted most compatible, and ultimately you were just kissing Gal a few days ago. You just had a whole movie reel that showed how you move with these dudes, that told them all, you know, whatever you wanted them to hear. You know what I'm saying? So apparently also the episode ends. We do not get a preview for tomorrow night. And also we also have a vote coming. So I believe this is going to be another vote. I don't know if it's going to be for favorite Islander or not, or another favorite couple or not, but we got to get some more butts out of this villa. We got to get some more Islanders up one out of this villa because there's too many people that are here. There's too many bodies, right? So there's that, you guys, for this episode. I want to know what y'all think. Like I said, it was a filler episode. Not much happened. You know what I'm saying? The challenge or whatever was cute. That's classic Love Island. But outside of that, I can do without Kenzie and Dylan. I could do without Kenzie and Dylan. Give Annayia and Carl and Casey and Tay more screen time as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? Kata, you lost me. Kata, you lost me. I no longer care about the core 4 making the finals. I don't care. I really do not care about them making the finals because you're showing that you're bitter. You're showing that you're a sore loser. There have been plenty of Islanders who have been voted at the bottom that did not treat it like it was the end of the world. Instead, they said, listen, look here, I'm not going to sway from my connection. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing and keeping it pushing. But you're trying to internalize all of this, but you're doing it by trying to shade the other couples that did make it, and I just don't respect that. So nonetheless, do me the biggest favor, and that is hype the video, please. There's that. That's it. That's all. It's Todos es final. It's finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post the content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.